Alright, let's go over this problem. If you use your fingers, you'll recognize that we were just doing problems that looked like this yesterday. But now they've added another trig function. So in math, when things get a little bit more busy, we can do substitutions. Everyone say substitutions. Instead of writing the inverse of cotangent of negative 15 over 8, we can make it equal to a variable. What's your favorite Greek letter? Someone said theta. So basically this pink box, theta, is equal to the inverse of cotangent of negative 15 over 8. Now, just like a freshman, you kind of have to zoom out and kind of show them what the end goal is. The end goal in this problem is for us to find secant of theta. So let's write that at the very bottom. Secant of theta equals something. So I need to get some puzzle pieces so at the end I figure out what secant is. Okay, now we know what theta is equal to. We did a problem like this yesterday. Class, what is this symbol called? Inverse. And what does it tell us to do? To switch them, the x and the y. Switching the y with the x. What do I have now, class? Cotangent of theta equals negative 15 over 8. Okay, now take out your trig paper plate. Put your finger on where cotangent is negative. Well, tangent and cotangent are positive in quadrants 1 and 3, because that's what all trig functions in T tangent is. That means it's negative in these two quadrants. Now I'm supposed to find negative 15 over 8. Class, is negative 15 over 8 on our unit circle? No, there's no radicals, there's no fractions in here. It's a fraction, but there's nothing of 15 or an 8. That means it's not on our trig paper plate. Just to remind you that the trig paper plate is the unit circle, and the unit circle is essentially a summary or a reference of the triangles drawn, like a 60-degree triangle. Remember the bow tie? So essentially what we're going to do in this problem now is we're actually going to go back to our triangles. Now, we said that it was in quadrants 2 and 4, and I want to focus on just quadrant 2. So I would, if you have two options in this problem, I would pick the one where it's closest to the first quadrant. So always pick first quadrant if possible, but if you have between the two of these, just pick the smaller number. So quadrant 2. Let's draw our triangle. Don't forget your bow tie. Here's theta, the reference angle. Remember what your bow tie looked like. Something like that. You guys remember that? Okay. What do we know about cotangent? What letters? X, Y, and R? Okay, I'm going to put that over here. X over Y. Okay, let's think about this. Where is the negative? I meant to write it in the middle between the fraction line, right? Does that make sense? The question is, think to yourself, where is the negative? Is it to the x, the numerator, or to the y? If you look at our picture, the x, is it positive or negative? Negative. So where does the negative sign go? To the 15. The y value is a positive 8. And the reason why I'm asking that question is because, remember, this expression is negative. You have to think about where's the negative assigned to. So really, the fraction might look like this. Negative 15 over 8. Okay, I have two sides of a right triangle. I can use the Pythagorean theorem to solve for the third side. Partner A, whisper to partner B the Pythagorean theorem. Brooklyn, what's the Pythagorean theorem? Let's go very slow and no shame using your calculator. Class, what's your R value? My R value is unknown. Remember, your R value should be always positive because it represents the radius or distance. Class, what's our X value? Negative 15. And our Y value? 8. Class, negative 15 squared? How much? Someone's alive. 8 squared? Add those together. Take the square root of both sides. R is equal to a plus or minus. Answer is? I'm in a class full of students, 35 math students staring at me. $17. Class, therefore, our value is 17. Okay, we need to find secant. Partner A, whisper to partner B. Which letters is secant? Josh? R over X. So Josh, what is our R value? And your X value? Positive or negative? X value is negative. Positive divided by negative means a negative expression. Secant is, the answer is secant of theta equals negative 17 over 15. Remember, you can always check your answer. All students take calculus. In here, sine and cosecant are positive. Secant, or all the other 4 trig functions, including secant, are negative. What did we do in this problem? We set it equal to a your favorite Greek letter in our first substitution. That means our end result is we're finding secant. Based off of this one, you're taking the inverse, use the Pythagorean theorem to solve, and then you can figure out your secant.